Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to today's video on the lunar eclipse in Virgo. We have an exciting one today. We're going to be covering this lunar event for your sun, moon, and rising. I do want to acknowledge that we are not on the date. Like I'm late on this video. So the actual lunar eclipse already happened. It happened on the 13th, but I debated whether to cover it or not. And I decided better late than never, especially considering eclipses are valid for 6 months after the eclipse happens. So a lot of people don't know that. The eclipse energy is a snapshot of sort of like one among many different layers that we're going to experience at any given time. So at any given time we're under the influence of the last eclipse. So that is one thing to know. And the other thing to know is that I have a sale going on right now. There is a sale on readings in honor of eclipse season. So you will be able to get 50% off a Zoom call with me. Use the link in the description to get yours. Now, as far as this video goes, again, we'll be covering all 12 signs of the zodiac. Sorry, I'm coughing. We'll be covering all 12 signs of the zodiac, so you can watch your sun, moon, and rising. They are all good to watch. People still ask me that a lot. So there's that, and go with whatever resonates for you. Remember, these are general forecasts. They're not going to cover every single unique thing to you. And what else did I want to tell you guys? I think that's it. So the next thing is that I wanted to cover just some facts about the eclipse, and then we'll go into the forecast for all the different signs. And there will be a separate video on the solar eclipse in Aries that's coming up. So if you're not already subscribed, be sure to subscribe. You can also join my email list, and then you will get. I don't always email for every single live, but I do often. So you'll get reminders and you'll get my cool emails that remind you that you're on the right path, even if you probably don't feel like it. Okay, so what is this eclipse about? With the south node conjunct the moon, right, which is what makes it an eclipse, having it be in Virgo, having Saturn conjunct the sun, right? So it's opposite the moon in this eclipse. And then also having Mercury ruling the eclipse. Mercury not making an aspect to the eclipse, a classical aspect, but also being in Aries, which is a very instinctual sign. So we have this very unique contrast, right, between Virgo and Aries, where these signs are naturally quincunx each other. So they can't see eye to eye, right? Quincunx signs are like around the corner. They're not able to connect with each other. So sometimes I've noticed this in people, whatever your sun sign is, sometimes you don't like the people who are quincunx that sun sign or that moon sign. And it's not like you hate everyone, but sometimes that will be a relationship that it's like you just don't get them. But the point is, for this eclipse, it's like, well, what are we releasing? We're releasing Virgo things. What are Virgo things? Virgo things are going to be like perfectionism, trying to do everything perfectly, and maybe trying to do everything perfectly to the detriment of shit getting done. Okay, so I thought about this. What is too much Virgo? What happens when we're releasing Virgo energy? It's letting go of the need to be so perfect, so pure, so exact, right? Virgo is separating the wheat from the chaff. It's like trying to only get the good things and use what's useful and discard the rest. But when we have an eclipse in Virgo and when we're releasing Virgo, what does that mean? Well, maybe we are learning how to just go with shit, learning how to just let the universe take the wheel for a second, and when and where and how to do that, and when and where and how to stay in control, but not necessarily hold ourselves back. This does not mean every Virgo is doing these things, okay? We're just talking about what it can mean when you have excess of this energy. So it's like, it's kind of like the artist that wants to repaint their picture, but really they just need to sell it. You know, it's like there's a moment where you have to let the painting go and let go of it and give it up and like go do the thing you're supposed to do and let the world see it. Otherwise, you know, you're kind of stuck in this internal thing. And so my very specific example that's a metaphor here is I was thinking of one of my first jobs. I worked in the dairy department of a grocery store, and I loved that job, especially in the summer. I was in the best shape of my life. And, you know, I thought of the metaphor for this. It's like, it would be like organizing the back room and getting all the things straight when like in the front you're out of butter. So this is our metaphorical experience of like realizing we're out of butter and going and just getting the butter on the shelf. Like achieve the goal at the expense of not doing it right, at the expense of not being perfect, at the expense of not being able to like say you know, it's like maybe you're sharpening a knife and you want to sharpen it like 20 more times, but you really need to cut something. It's like, just do the thing already. Like we can only sharpen the knife. We can only till the fields so long before you have to pick the fruit. And this is kind of the metaphor that keeps coming over and over. It's like, go pick the fruit and just let the fruit be what it is now, right? Like we've done the harvesting, or we've done the, what is it called? I can't think of the word when you like get good at a skill, but like the knife is sharp enough, go do something with it. Hopefully something good. Okay, so this is what my sense is, because Virgo is so methodical and so wanting to improve and wanting to be of service and wanting to help. But Aries doesn't really care if they're helping anyone, to be honest. Like when we are in Aries energy, and everyone has an ability to be in that, we end up acting on our instincts and then asking for permission later, right? We end up just kind of going with the flow. It's like a teacher who's like teaching a class and they get this idea in mid-class to explain something in a different way, and they trust that instinct. So even if you're not a daredevil or something, this is what this eclipse energy to me is about. It's like letting go of rigid perfectionism, letting go of being timid or being afraid to act or feeling like we're getting ready to be ready to be ready. And with Saturn conjunct the sun in this eclipse, I think it's about, possibly even releasing what's comfortable to achieve a goal, or releasing, because the sun and the moon, right, the moon represents our emotional needs and our body's needs, but it's also like comfort, right? What makes us feel okay. Whereas the sun is like what we want to achieve, and Saturn with the sun is very much an achievement configuration. And so it's like, letting go of, that's what I get for drinking soda. Letting go of this feeling like we need to be better on an internal level, or letting go of ways that we maybe self-soothe to feel like we're okay. Here's another metaphor, and some people might not like this one, but it's true. It's so true. And I was thinking about it today. I used to listen to a lot of self-help videos, a lot of self-help podcasts, and I don't listen to as many of them. Sometimes I'll listen to like a motivational thing or something. Why? Because I'm too busy trying to actually sell readings and actually do what I'm here to do, to sit around and listen to podcasts that make me feel like I'm winning. It's the difference. Okay. This eclipse is the difference between doing things that make you feel like you're winning, or make you feel like you're achieving something, or making you feel like you're worthy or whatever, versus actually going out and earning it and deserving it. Okay. So let's go on now. I think this is a great time to start off with the signs Okay, so we are going to go from Aries to Pisces. If you're just jumping on, also, I currently have a reading sale. You can get 50% off a Zoom reading with me. Use the link in the description to get yours. All right, let me get us on the time for this. I have to change the time a little bit. This eclipse, by the way, I don't think I said this yet. It was the 13th at 11:54 p.m. So like I said, we're late on this, but it still applies. So let me get to, I'm thinking, one moment, I have to get it on Aries. And I'm hoping, yeah, that's going to work. Okay, so we're on Aries. So for Aries, we have the lunar eclipse in the 6th house, whereas Mercury is in the 1st house. So lunar eclipse in the 6th house, letting go of over-reliance on comfort related to how you spend your time. What are you doing in your day-to-day schedule that is making you feel good, making you feel better, but it isn't making your life better? What kind of security blanket or comfort food or like comfort activity might need to be released in the next 6 months? Also, with the eclipse in the 6th house, this could be any habit you want to let go of. Really good time for that. So for Aries and you're like, I want to align with the eclipse and everything, I would say habit change, especially focus on letting go of a habit, or even letting go of being too busy, right? Because when I think of the 6th house and the 12th house, I think of the 6th house as like the stuff we got to do in the chores and the routines. And I think of the 12th house as the quiet time and the meditation. And of course, meditation can be a routine, but it's the withdrawal from our regular activities that make it a 12th house thing. It's the isolation and the quietude and the reflection and the psychology and the recovery that happens in that 12th house. And yeah, so what else was I going to say? I totally lost it. Okay, so going back to just letting go of the comfort or the things we want to feel. Some Aries could let go of a pet in the next 6 months, but that's not going to be everyone. Other things that go in the 6th house, besides just work and your time, are habits, health routines, things you do to stay healthy, and employees go in the 6th house, pets. That's everything I can think of. So, it's possible some Aries out there are like, yeah, I am going to have to fire someone, or I am going to, scale down my business and let go of some employees. But for most of us, this is about letting go also of our need to be of service to others, maybe to step into some commitment where we're being more of service to our own self. That could actually be happening. And another thing for Aries is that with Mercury in the 1st house ruling the eclipse, it's like, it really does feel, because the 1st house is all about us and our life plans, and Mercury is like, making the life plan, adjusting the life plan, letting go of the dead weight, letting go of, and some Aries, if you guys are feeling this and you know what I'm talking about, let me know in the comments, let us know. But this really feels like letting go of maybe some dead weight of someone you're taking care of, or letting go of a release that maybe you don't have control over, of something that you've been spending your time doing that maybe isn't, maybe just isn't like what you want to be spending your time doing. Maybe it's like, not even a bad habit, but like you had to do something and now you're done with it. Maybe a course is finishing and free time is there now that it wasn't, right? So it can be something like that as well, but it does feel like letting go of, and this can also be what I just literally talked about, because the 6th house can also be that desire to develop the self and to be better and to improve. So releasing the need to constantly be improving and deciding I'm starting something, launching something, initiating something, moving something in your life forward that you've been wanting to do, but it can still be work related. So it feels like a lot of this is going to relate to work and how you spend your time, and launching something that relates to other people, like one-on-one clients, or like even a new relationship possibly. But it does feel like we're going forward with this. It's like letting go of the things that tie up your time and stop you from connecting, and embracing some kind of risk or some kind of new life direction. So this does feel important to me for Aries. Okay, we're going to move on to our next sign, which is Taurus. All right, so let me get our little... Okay, Taurus, for this lunar eclipse in Virgo, we have it happening right there in your fifth house. Now, the fifth house represents fun, enjoyment, pleasure, dating, children, self-employment, gambling. It's entertainment, really. A lot of it's entertainment and things that we create, our creation, right? Our creativity, our kids, our businesses, our things that come from within us that we like are going to put out into the world. But the fifth house is the act of creation. So is it possible some Tauruses out there play an instrument, and during this 6 months, they won't be playing as much because they're going to be with friends more. They're going to be doing something more social or something like that. It can be that. It can be letting go of some kind of creative hobby. Is it going to be like Taurus has stopped dating? Probably not. When I see the South Node and the Moon in the fifth house, it doesn't feel like, oh, we're releasing a partner. It could be, but it's more likely you would get a partner, especially for Tauruses who are single. You could get a partner that is very spiritual and caring, very, very spiritual, like Tantra and all of that. Or maybe there could be a desire during this cycle to bring spirituality into your sexuality, or into your creativity, or into your whatever you do, right? Everyone has some kind of creativity. So it's not like it has to be songwriting or painting, but it could be anything you do like that. What you're using your life force energy to influence might have more of a spiritual bent to it. And there can be some kind of commitment you make. Either a commitment you make to a lifelong dream, where it's like, okay, now I can't, this can also be like, I want to go do this thing in the world. Tauruses want to go do a thing in the world. And they're like, I can't be drinking all the time. I don't have time to play these games anymore. I don't have time to go with my buddies right now, or I don't have as much time to do things that are just fun when I'm committing to this vision of what I want to create and the impact I want to have. With Saturn and the Sun in the 11th house, this does feel like some Tauruses might feel really called to help a social cause, or to step up and take a position in their community, or take a position in a group, or help out in some way, or again, like commit to the vision of their own like lifelong dreams, and let go of things that are more comfortable. So it's like, maybe you've always wanted to, gosh, I don't know, be an architect or something. No, that's a hard one, because like that's a lot of school. Not that you can't do it, but it's like it doesn't remind me of that kind of thing. It kind of reminds me of like when someone wants to do a side hustle, and then they normally spend like 3 hours watching TV or something, and then they're like, okay, we're not doing 3 hours watching TV anymore because we need that time to build something. This feels like something serious that you might want to build in the world. Now, there's another side to this where Mercury, which rules the eclipse, is in your 12th house, conjunct Venus. Now, for you, Mercury rules your money. And it also rules your fifth house of creativity and everything we just said. So it might be that whatever creativity you have right now takes like a behind the scenes flavor, right? So it's like maybe you are creating and no one sees it, or maybe you are working on stuff that is just like not ready to be, not ready to be put out there. Like behind the scenes, working on creative things can be one thing we see for Tauruses here. We can also see really enjoying understanding your own psychology, really letting go of, maybe it is like maybe some Tauruses are like doing a getting sober thing, right? Or quitting a substance or a behavior that they feel is just getting a little too much. And that Mercury in the 12th with Venus there can be the joy isn't the right word, but I'm going to say it, the joy of like understanding your own psychology and your own like how distorted your thinking has been in the past, or the desire to kind of dig deep and understand the self for the purpose of recovery from something that used to be entertaining or fun. That's what I think could be happening. Now, if that doesn't resonate, then just let it pass and know that there's other things going on here. Keep in mind also that the solar eclipse is going to tell us what we're ushering in the next 6 months. This reading today is about what we're releasing. So if you're like me and you're more excited about what's to come, make sure you check out the next one. But yes, I do think it could also be over-reliance on entertainment as a form of comfort or a form of self-soothing that you are ready to release. And maybe not too much over-reliance, maybe just an awareness that like, I mean, the metaphor I'll use, and just take what resonates, is someone who watches YouTube all day and wants to have a YouTube channel, but has never made a video. And it's like, at some point you got to stop consuming and start producing. That's kind of what I feel. Now take that, and even if YouTube is not on your mind, take that and think about how that might resonate to whatever it resonates in your life, where you want to stop or consume less and produce more, because that's kind of the theme that I'm feeling for Tauruses for this one. And I do feel like with the money ruler in the 12th, that's not like amazing for finances, but Jupiter is in the second. So it's like, maybe this is about coming up with a plan behind the scenes to create some financial growth or stability, or trying to understand why you spend the way you spend, and maybe putting some time into getting to know that aspect of yourself for the purpose of changing and leading your life to where you want it to go. Oh, hi Quinn. Oh, I'm gonna check some comments. Thank you. I have been here. I've been around. Can I usually other people do this now. So, what I do though for timestamps is I'm putting, if you can see, and now it went off, so I got to put it back on. I'm putting captions on. So you can actually see in the video where it says Taurus, where it says Gemini. So you can like more easily find it when the captions aren't there yet. Purple Rose says, when is this happening? This technically already happened. This happened on March 14th. I'm just late. So we're currently under this influence. It's a 6-month influence, by the way. Yeah, it's 6 months after the eclipse. Most people don't know that. So yeah, now-ish, this last week, and now-ish is when. Okay, let's go on to our next sign, which is Gemini. Okay, Geminis, we have the eclipse happening in your 4th house of home, emotional foundations, and the ruler of the eclipse, Mercury, in your 11th house of hopes and dreams and community. So, eclipse in the 4th house, maybe really, really letting go of where you might, maybe it's like you've been in a cycle of or a time period where the focus has been on getting to know yourself more deeply. And now it's time to let go of some of that and kind of go through this transition where there's more of a stepping up to achieving things in the world. This eclipse very, very clearly spells out a time of being busy, working hard, or putting a lot of time into something, and maybe making commitments to career, maybe stepping up to something in career or in work that it gives the potential for accomplishment, focusing less on what makes you comfortable, focusing more on what makes you accomplish something. Why? Maybe some Geminis just got something with your home situation more settled. And now that it's settled, you can step into this new level of, now that my emotional foundation or my home life is like more clear, more solid, or that there was something there that isn't there anymore. Keep in mind, it's a general reading. Now I can step out into the world more confident, more capable, more focused on what's ahead. So it can be that kind of thing for Geminis. There can also be something for Geminis with letting go of where you are, I don't know, like wanting everything to be too comfortable, possibly, because that fourth house is very much a house of feeling like we belong. It's a house of feeling like we are safe. It's our home. It's our emotional foundation. And having the South Node there means we're going to let go of this to some level. It does not mean you're letting go of your safety, but you might be letting go of where you have over relied on needing to feel safe. And I don't think it's about safety really, actually. I think it's more like maybe it's work-life balance. Someone is, especially, yeah, if you're a Gemini who is spending a lot of time at home, now might be the time where it's like, now we get out into the world and we don't get to be home as much, or we're working from home or something else like that. But for others, it can just be like, I do think there's potential with this fourth house. If you are someone who is seeking a release of certain feelings, if you're someone who is wanting to stop feeling a certain way, this eclipse can support that, right? So if you're trying to be in alignment with this eclipse, you could do things where you're trying to release emotions, and that's like a part of what you want to be doing during this time. Now with Mercury in the 11th, it might be about getting out into community and connecting with other people. I mean, connecting with people in community, initiating conversations in community for your own personal growth and to make money is really, really highlighted. So I see networking for Geminis. I see growing your audience or your network of any kind. I see focusing on going toward the goals and using your intuition toward that, and maybe not being as home as much, maybe not being able to meditate 2 hours a day, maybe not spending as much time in contemplation of your own feelings and spending more time focusing out, right? Focusing out. That's kind of what I feel. Focusing on others, focusing on the world, focusing on community, focusing on society. Not that you weren't doing this, but that maybe there was a time where you needed to focus more on home or family or your own emotional wellness, right? So this is just showing that cycle. Okay, so that's what I have for Geminis. Let's go on now to our next one, which is Cancers. For Cancer, we have the South Node in your third house. We have to go back. I have to go back 1 second. Wait, I passed it. No, the other way. Okay. So for Cancers, we have like I said, the South Node in the third house and the North Node in the ninth house with this lunar eclipse in Virgo. So it's releasing ways of communicating, letting go of old hurts with siblings, Maybe letting go. Maybe some Cancers will let go of a vehicle or a mode of transportation. Some Cancers might move to a foreign country during this 6 months, but that's not going to be everyone. And there might be something about your local neighborhood that changes. It could be a roommate. It could be something like that. Now, some Cancers might have a sibling thing where it's like, I wouldn't predict a falling out with a sibling or something, but maybe a sibling moves further away from you or you move further away from them. So it feels like you're letting go of a sibling, even though maybe they're still in your life. It's just showing the how that's less, you get less contact with them than you did before, kind of a thing. And maybe letting go of trying to be too perfect and controlled in how you're speaking and thinking. This is also the axis of what you know and how you communicate what you know. And so this is one where Cancers might actually be experiencing a shift where they are not teaching as much, or they're not talking as much, or they're not trying to communicate what they know as much during this 6-month cycle as they normally do, but rather focusing on learning more and understanding more and mastering a topic of interest. That can be what what Cancers are doing during this time. Now, we also have Mercury here in the 10th house. So it's like you're letting go of a certain way of speaking in exchange for a new one. And maybe the new one is more bossy, more authoritative. Maybe you're learning to give orders to people. Maybe you're learning to be more direct. Maybe you're learning to write code. Maybe you're learning to work with machines, or learning something that's Aries-like, that's going to be like hot, dealing with heat, dealing with sharp objects, dealing with machines, security, defense of any kind, or hot yoga, things where you're moving your body, anything like that. There's probably more that I'm not thinking of, but it feels like, with Mercury in that 10th house, let me see, Mercury rules your 12th house and your 3rd house. Yeah, it does feel like releasing controlled communication, but also, I don't know, it's almost like releasing the need to control certain aspects of communication, but embracing a way of communicating that's that's more direct, more instinctual, more feeling oriented, or more authoritative, possibly. So yeah, and then with Mars in the 1st, it feels like it'll be a busier season of life for you. And it does feel like with all this stuff up here, it's about like letting go of what's happening in your local world and exploring things that are more far off and distant. So that might apply to your actual where you live versus far away, but it can also be like, again, like this idea of letting go of things you already know and not focusing as much on the stuff you already know. So you can dive into new things and master new things that are maybe more in depth or more detailed or more higher level knowledge on a topic. Okay, so that's what I think we're going to see coming up for Cancer. So let's go on now to our next sign, which is going to be our Leos. All right, Leos. For Leos, for this lunar eclipse in Virgo that already happened, we have the south node in your south node and the moon, the eclipse happening in your 2nd house of money. Does not mean you're going to lose money. And then the north node and the sun opposite that in the 8th, while Mercury ruling the eclipse is in the 9th. So what does it all mean? Letting go of certain forms of comfort related to money. You might let go of spending too much on comfort things, right? You might let go of money and comfort are enmeshed. Maybe you start seeing your financials in a more detached, clerical way, right? Sterile. Where it's like this money comes, like you are a computer looking at your bank account. This money came in, this money went out, instead of and I'm not saying you were doing this, but if there was a tendency to go, oh, I have all this money and I feel this certain way about money, right? Like, and let me tell you, I am like this. When I have money, I feel happy. And if you are like that, it's okay. You can be spiritual and like money. It's okay. But back to this chart. Um, Releasing related to finances, you might just clear out your closet or get rid of some stuff during this cycle. You might the release may not be your actual money, it might be your things. You might be letting go of some things. You might be moving or something and you're like, I got to get rid of stuff. Or excuse me, it just might be a cycle where you do want to sell a few things. Maybe you do, Leo, want to sell a few things to pay off some debt because that's coming up right now. That could be coming up for some Leos. But it could also be some Leos might be like, okay, I'm letting go of my own. Like some Leos during this cycle might quit working and rely on a partner who's supporting. That is a total possibility with the seventh ruler in the eighth house. It's like your partner, for those Leos who are coupled, your partners, what are they doing? They're focusing on their money, right? So that could be a thing. Focusing on paying off debt, letting go of, it could really be the thing that everyone talks about where you stop buying Starbucks so you can pay off debt. Although I have my own, I just think that's like ridiculous. I think that people say that to judge people more than anything. But whatever your version of that is that there is something you do that is more comfortable. That is, it's like eating DoorDash or something else like that. That's like, it's comfortable. I like it. It's familiar. Exchanging that and letting go of that for a mostly financial goal with this eighth house energy. That could be a thing too. Then with Mercury in the ninth, it's like, why are we letting go of this stuff? So we can go to another country, so we can speak another language, so we can explore the world, so we can learn something, so we can, have higher knowledge. So maybe some Leos are not letting go of their money or their stuff. Maybe some of you are investing in something that you consider higher knowledge, higher information, whether it actually be higher education or whether it be like some spiritual, like expensive or spiritual investment. Oh, I hope that wasn't too loud. All right, so Leos can be making a spiritual investment. You can also just find that, the reason to even look at the financial side or what you have or what you own is because of some quest you want to reach, some far off goal, some far off hope and dream that you might not be like going for the whole thing during this 6 months, but it might be like initiating a plan for some kind of like quest in life. And that quest might be going to another country, but that quest might be like, oh, what am I going to do when my kids are in middle school now? You know what I mean? So just think of the season of your life and what kind of quest to you seems like it's outside of what your local environment is, or it's outside of what you've been accustomed to or familiar with lately. That's what we're talking about here. Okay. Sorry, I sneezed earlier. We're going to go on to the next sign. Leos, let me know if that resonated. I always love hearing from you guys, even if I don't always respond in the chat, especially on these lives. I always love your comments and everything. Okay, I'm going to look at Sarah's comment. I think actually Priya said hi. Hello, Priya. And Sarah, whoops. I just sneezed. Oh, Anurata sneezed exactly when I did. That is synchronicity. I would say that's a sign. I don't know what of. Sarah says, fellow Sag, Sun, Virgo, rising at 21. You okay? Okay, so she's asking this probably because the eclipse is in Virgo, right? So that means, for those of you who don't know, like it's actually on my rising sign and are on my ascendant, and I'm okay. I'm okay. Sometimes we're just fine, It's not always the worst. Eclipses aren't always the worst. I'm totally fine. I don't know. So far, nothing crazy has been eclipsed out of my life, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, so far I'm alive. Nothing crazy has happened. Um, and then Sagittarius and Gemini are going to square that point as well. So mutables are affected, is the point I'm trying to make here. Let's go on to Virgo. Speaking of Virgo, we just did Leo. And we do have, if you guys have noticed, we do have these little, on the bottom left, you can see the sign. So those of you who do timestamps after the video, thank you for doing those. I really can't do them anymore. And I've added those so for that reason. Okay, so we're going on to Virgo now. For Virgos, South Node, the eclipse, the lunar eclipse in the first house in your sign, and the Sun and Saturn in your opposite sign of Pisces, with the ruler of the eclipse, Mercury, in the 8th house, conjunct Venus. So what do we got? What does it mean? Well, maybe some Virgos are releasing something that's big right now. Maybe there's a change that requires you to let go of a certain identity you had. And that might be an identity you're done with. Maybe you're tired of being the poor one, or you're tired of being the broke one, or the single one, or the one no one likes. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with you guys. Maybe you're tired of being the one who does all the fucking work and never gets credit for it. Maybe you da 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 da, right? So like, what kind of self-identity are you just sick of and fed up with? Virgos, it's time. It's time. This is a perfect time to be like, write it down. I don't care that the eclipse already happened. It doesn't matter. Write down all the things you're like, I am done with, and that relate to your personality, or just pick one thing. Or some of you are like, I already know what this is. So it could be a lot of things. It's probably not your job. It's probably not your job. If anything, you could do some new work or new business or something, possibly here. So your life and your identity isn't always just your job. Maybe it's like how you dress or your appearance, that you're like, I'm letting go of this Virgo boring ass appearance, regular ass look, or something else too perfect. And I want to look messier, or I want to look more like a rock star, or I want to look more ethereal, or whatever it is. Just, there's a focus though, when we have it as an eclipse, there's a focus on letting go of something that is kind of life defining. So have you always been the one who can't figure out what colors to wear? Maybe that's what you end up doing. Especially I'm feeling this vibe with Neptune across from this eclipse, and it close to the sun in the eclipse, just making the aspects here. Neptune rules beauty and things we see on screens and makeup and anything that's like an illusion, right? Because makeup, it's like the illusion. And if you're someone who doesn't wear makeup, then all the other things we do to make ourselves look a certain way, from whether we wear hoodies to baseball caps to cowboy hats to whatever, right? So it doesn't have to be about just makeup, but the idea that we're dressing our avatar, we're like, maybe we're picking a new character. Like I think of the avatar in the video game. It's like, we are all the avatar. And it's like, what is your new avatar? What avatar are you releasing right now, Virgo? Now, for some Virgos, maybe it's about, it could be there's a big life change in the next 6 months, like moving or something. But it feels more like it's not about the external on this one to me. It feels more like it's about the internal shift of, I am a person who does X, Y, and Z. So keep in mind, not all those releases of identity are negative, right? Just because we're letting go of a thing doesn't mean it's a bad thing or that it's a bad experience, right? Because you could let go of like, if you're like, have you ever had long hair like I do right now, and you're like, oh, I need to cut my hair, and then you get your hair cut and you're just like, you feel like a new person because you just dropped the dead weight? That's the metaphor here of like but it's the dead weight of your personality. And it's not like that, but just something about how you have identified yourself that maybe isn't working anymore. Maybe you're ready to get rid of. Maybe you're ready to step up and step into a new level of responsibility. And for some Virgos, it might be because a certain authority that used to do it for you is no longer doing it. And you have to, like, maybe you have to step up and be a more responsible person in a certain area of life. And because of that, then this old identity of I don't know how or whatever it is, you just can't keep it anymore. It doesn't, they don't coexist. So don't think that because it's an eclipse in your first house, you're eclipsed and it's bad necessarily. Sometimes eclipses bring challenges, but I just don't find that helpful. So let's not get into that fatalistic thinking. Let's consider how we can use this to our advantage, right? How you can use an eclipse in the first house to your advantage is get clear on what aspect of your personality you don't want anymore, and then start working to change it. I'm making that sound easy, but that's what you can do. Now, what is this Mercury in the 8th doing over here, and how is it connected? Because Mercury rules the eclipse, so it's like, why are we letting go an aspect of our personality? Because we have heightened intuition, and now we are a new kind of a person, and we can't be regular anymore because we got too deep into the spiritual shit. Could be that. You can't look like you have your shit together when you're being all psychic. It could be that. Or it could be about letting go of some kind of personality of the one who does all the work or something like that to make more of an impact. It could also be releasing something that is about sharpening the axe. And now it's like the axe is sharp enough. You need to do 8th house stuff. So 8th house stuff is like, it's selling. It's actually, if you have customers in a business, it's your customers' money. So some Virgos, if you're a Virgo and you have a business or you sell things to people, anything, this could be you focusing on how to make sales, how to initiate things that your customers want to buy, how to get them to pay you. That could be what it's about. It could be about making money. But for other Virgos, it could be about investing, 401k, retirement taxes, all that kind of stuff. That's like, so for some, it's like inheritance and stuff, but most of you, I'm not predicting that. If that's already an area of life, then okay, but I'm not predicting that. It's just other people's money that we're tied up with, business partners. And again, not advice, but these are the kind of things you might be focusing on, and there might be a need to release a certain way that you used to show up so that you can accomplish a goal or create or launch something that has 8th house themes. Okay, so 8th house themes are like sex, death, and other people's money. And death doesn't mean people die. It could be you deal with the death industry, or you are like, I don't know, selling caskets or something, right? Like there's people who do that work. I'm not predicting that for all Virgos, but you guys know what I mean. There's other aspects of the 8th house. The sex industry as a whole is in the 8th house. Our psychic abilities, the other side of the veil, is in the 8th house. So again, I think it's going to go one of two ways for Virgos. You're getting deeper into the other side of the veil, and you can no longer be normal, and you can no longer pretend, put on a mask that's not you. You now have the identity of the person who is the psychic or is the healer or is the whatever, shaman or whatever you are. And so that's one way. The second way is going to be you're going to let go of a certain aspect of your personality that isn't winning in order to win, sell, accomplish, make more money, pay off debt, That's kind of what I think. For the most part, Jupiter's here helping you grow in that career. So it does feel like it's It's money oriented. It could be psychologically oriented, but there's so much Saturn here that it's like there's going to be goals happening, okay? There's going to be goals. There's going to be probably some speeding up of energy in your 11th house of community or audience, or I do see this as probably money focused, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, changing how you show up to your day-to-day time to get more results in your public image, you know, and that's kind of what I feel. Okay. Okay, this I can't get enough of these comments. Sarah's saying, "Oh my God, I was job searching openings in death care mortuary science an hour ago." Thank you, Sarah. Mark, the midhouse changes. Virgo's midheaven can be Gemini, but it can be other signs too. So the midheaven on here isn't like your midheaven if you have that rising sign. Oh yeah, okay. So Dolly says your husband is Virgo rising 25 degrees. He's having health issues. Okay. You guys, okay, I'm seeing your comments about sneezing, and I do sneeze a lot now because I have some allergy stuff going on. So like me sneezing, like every day at work, everyone's like, "Bless you," because there's once or twice I'm just sneezing. It's a ritual now. And I ate something earlier that's making me sneeze. Okay, we're gonna go on to the next sign now. This is fun. After Virgo is Libra. So Libras, we're looking at, let me get the chart here. Okay. So keep in mind when I do these, the moon isn't exactly where it was at the eclipse hour time day. It's just close enough. All right, Libras. Eclipse in the 12th house means releasing isolation. So maybe some Libras were having some kind of recovery experience before this, and now they're coming back into life. That's kind of the vibe. It's like letting go of too much isolation, letting go of hermit mode, letting go of a time or ending a time of emphasis on psychology. So this is almost like a Libra who's been doing therapy. This is not a diagnosis or anything, but a Libra who's been doing therapy who now is like, I'm done with therapy now, you know, like that kind of thing, where like you're done with a phase of psychoanalysis, self-analysis, checking out how you self-sabotage, going deep into your own psychology, meditating intensely, a retreat. Excuse me, or some of you, Libra, could just get out of jail. Just get out of the hospital. That could be a thing, but that's if you're not in jail, if you weren't in jail and you weren't in the hospital, that's not for you. Okay. So the idea though here that's more broad and encompassing for everyone is a time where you had more isolation or more time to contemplate or more work behind the scenes or just we're more lonely for some reason. Libras aren't usually lonely. I don't think I've ever met a lonely Libra. But the point is, if you for some reason were, now you're getting into life again, right? Because that sixth house to me, it's our routines and our time and our work and stuff, but it's also like getting out of the house and into the world and accomplishing something and being of service to our fellow humans. And usually that involves other people, and it involves like getting out of bed, getting out of some kind of isolated place and like getting into action. So then the eclipse of the 12th house can also be like the ending of a cycle of grief, right? The ending of a cycle of 12th house things that are more challenging. And I'm trying to think. it's possible that like let's say you are sober and you have a sponsor or sponsees, right? Like maybe one of them leaves or you lose one of them in some way. They leave your life. That could be one way this eclipse functions for Libras in not such a positive way, is like a spiritual mentor or a self-help teacher or a someone who helped you with recovery or someone you're helping with recovery, whether it be any kind of 12 step, or whether it be some kind of mental health thing or like a spiritual thing. Like maybe you're in a Buddhist group and like you help each other. I don't know what all the religions do, but just imagine you're in some kind of religious or spiritual group and you get like there's like a buddy system and now you lose your buddy or something, you know, like it could be something like that for Libras where, and that can be because it ran its course and it's a natural ending or something else. And then, but overall, I would say more likely for most Libras is going to be just a shift of energy where there can be, it's possible this can actually bring more focus on 12th house stuff, though. It could be during the next 6 months, you're going to therapy more and you're trying to figure yourself out more. Why? So you can be in a relationship, Libra, because that's what you guys love the most. Is like I'm joking around, but it's like Libras do tend to see the world like they kind of need the interaction with another person to be able to view themselves. You know, it's like I'm like a Libra. Okay, a Libra will I'll be like, do you want to do this or this? And it's like a Libra needs you to ask them what to do, like to suggest something so they can do the other thing. You know, like they need you to be like, oh yeah, wear the red shirt so they can say, now I'm going to wear the blue one. And there is that sort of beauty of living life in balance or in contrast to others that Libra really does well. And part of that is being in relationships of all kinds, right? The seventh house is your partner, but it's also others, the other people, like your good friends, the other one-on-one people. Sometimes it's your clients and stuff. So these one-on-one people in your life are motivating you to do therapy, to release self-sabotaging tendencies that are based on over-reliance on comfort, because we have some goals to reach. We either have some clients to get, or we have a relationship we want to focus on, or we're taking our relationship to the next level, or we want, or our partner is like just like taking a front seat in life right now and we want to help them and support them to reach their work goals. That could be very highlighted for a lot of Libras because the ruler of the eclipse in the 7th, while that ruler is in the 10th, it's like, what are you doing with your time? You're spending it like being the wind beneath your partner's wings, so to speak. Or if you're a coach, being the wind beneath your client's wings so they can win, you know, like just supporting others so they can win can be a very powerful theme for Libras right now. If you're a Libra and you relate to that, please let me know in the chat because I love that. You guys are cracking me up in the chat. Let me get back to what I'm saying. Okay, so yes, and then what else is good here? Because this to me feels a little heavy. You know, I'm not gonna lie, Libra. Eclipse in the 12th house just feels a little bit like we're letting go of some kind of deep psychological stuff going on. But we've got Jupiter in the 9th here, calling you toward a higher knowledge, learning, you know, deeper learning of topics that are not just knowledge based, but really meaningful. So there's this potential to get all this like spiritual insight or information or learn or read books and just learn spiritual things. Now that Jupiter influence is only through about June. And then it will move into the 10th where, you know, we'll have our own separate video for that. And you can book a reading for that too. I recommend that because we can look at it personally. But back to Libra, back to Libra. It does feel like there's potential there. And let's say you are like, but there's no one's wings who I'm lifting up. Like, what's going on for me? Well, I think that there's still a focus on others. There's still a focus on like, this is almost like coming out of the witch closet and like making friends that are like you so that you can enjoy, like starting a little group of people who are spiritual in your or area, or beginning to go to a class on something, or maybe you already are, and like having more focus on maybe gaining spiritual skills. The term spiritual workshop just popped into my head. I don't know why, but it's like, I just imagined people going to like a candle making workshop or something where it's like, it's not just about making the candles, right? It's about that Jupiter in the ninth influence of spending your time getting closer to God or to spirit or whatever you would call that, the universe. Okay, so really interesting for Libras, okay? And we'll talk more about what you're calling in and stuff in the solar eclipse video that's upcoming. Okay, going on now to our Scorpios. Let me get the thing up. Actually, I'm going to check the chat here. Thank you, Dolly. I don't know what I was talking about. Sometimes I just say shit, you guys. That's part of why I like having a channel. I'm not even gonna lie, is because I can say shit on here I cannot say in real life. I can't get away with this. Okay, and then Anarada says, "Oh, thank you, little fairy." Thank you. Okay, so let's go on. We're gonna go to Scorpios now. Okay, Scorpios, we have the eclipse in your 11th house of community and Mercury ruling the eclipse in your 6th house of your time, your habits. So, you might be letting go. I mean, yes, you could be letting go of a group of friends, but it might not be that cut and dry. This is during a 6-month cycle. Some of your friend group could become more spiritual. You could find that you are not, maybe you do kind of spend less time with friends to spend more time creating something, or taking care of your kids if you have them, or kind of like nurturing some kind of goal that's like a little baby right now, whether it's a real baby or whether it's a child that's older, or whether it's like you're writing a book and it's still a baby. You need to, nurture it and feed it and water it. You know what I mean? So your metaphorical baby here of the thing you're creating might be taking you away from your community for a little bit this cycle, this 6 months. But it could be some Scorpios letting go of a hope and dream. And I know that sounds sad as hell, but sometimes we have to realize that it's like that thing you wanted to do 20 years ago, you're too old now. You know what I mean? Like sometimes that's true. Sometimes we realize we always wanted this thing. And sometimes when we want something, though, this is the crazy thing. Sometimes when we want something, we don't really want it, right? And I'm going to give an example in my life. I majored in Spanish. I told myself for a long time that I could go to another country and get better at Spanish. And I said that a lot for many years. And one day I was driving down the street and I just realized I don't want to. And it sounds silly, but this is how we become our authentic selves, is we realize when we are lying to ourselves. Sometimes we lie to ourselves about what we want because it makes us feel, in my case, it made me feel like the thing I did was worth it. It's going to be worth it someday. Someday I'm going to make that worth it. When I just had to realize, no, like I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do that. That's why. It's because I never wanted to. And so maybe there's something happening like this for Scorpios during this cycle of, real positive stuff, like realizing the thing you've been telling yourself you wanted, maybe you don't want it. And another example from my own life is I thought I wanted to teach kids one time, and they're like, you have to job shadow, you have to go and volunteer at elementary school to do this. And I went and I was like, nope. So maybe it's that kind of thing where you have a hope and dream that you're like, actually, now that I've done this, it's not what I thought it was going to be. So it's time to say goodbye to it. And that's okay. Now, for some Scorpios, this might show up more in, like I said, releasing community in a certain way. So this could be a group you used to associate with. Now you are no longer. It doesn't have to be because something sad or horrible happened. It could be because you move, or because it was in college and now you're not in college anymore, or, a natural transition in life that makes it not make sense to do that anymore. Maybe you were part of the parent teacher thing at your kid's school, and now they're grown up, or now they're at a different school and you're not in that community anymore. Possibly some Scorpios, if you had some kind of community service commitment, maybe stepping down from that and rescinding your position or ending that naturally as well. And it's possible this could be more work related, where there was a more community related work you had to do that now is no longer. Now with Mars in the ninth, it makes me wonder though, if there's someone's being a bitch, or like, I don't know, maybe it's like, the authority at the group is being a jerk to you. The mentor, the guru, the person in charge, especially if it's like a spiritual group, is like just being a jerk. And you're like, bye, I'm not going to that church no more, or something like that. There could be something going on like that. Or another reason could be these people are not aligned with my values, and I feel like I need to stand up against that, so I'm not going to participate or help them or support a cause I don't believe in. So those are the kinds of things that come up first and foremost for this. Now, let's look at Mercury being in the 6th and ruling the eclipse, and that as the reason why for Scorpios on this one. Like, why are we letting go of our 11th house community? Why is it releasing? Why is there less energy being put there? Well, Mercury in the 6th is like, it could be spending your time learning. So starting to learn a new skill. It could be initiating something. It could be building a new community that you're like, this one's going to be better. There's probably other reasons I'm trying to see. It really could be, I want to focus on my health and my life and not other people right now. And that actually feels to me like for Scorpios, it really might be that. It might be like, I want to focus on my health and my habits and like bring some more energy into my day-to-day routine and like work out, or do the things I want to do, spend the time, there's an element of risk with Aries, right? So Aries on the 6th with Mercury and Venus there, it's like there's something you want to chase right now, Scorpio. Scorpio wants to chase something. And it's not a long-term hope and dream that requires a bunch of sacrifice and stuff. It feels like Scorpio during this 6 months is going to want to have more fun in their day-to-day life. They're going to want to maybe bring more spiritual information to their day-to-day life. Maybe they want to work and pay off some debt or something. Maybe they want to work so they can invest into something. Maybe they're working so they can support a partner. It feels like work, your chores, your day-to-day habits. That makes it sound so lame. For the next 6 months, Scorpio is doing the dishes. I think it's more like sharpening the axe, focusing on habit change. But it's not letting go of a habit. It's building habits, okay? It's building skills. It's building something that you might publish or put out in the world someday, but that requires you to withdraw from the world temporarily. So let me know, Scorpios, if that resonated. I always love hearing from you guys. And we're going to go on to the next sign, which is Sagittarius. So for Sagittarius, let me get onto your sign here. Okay, but for Sagittarius, We could be letting go of a job. We could be letting go of a certain public image. So that could be because we are creating a different one. It could be because, it's hard to, here's what I feel about this. If we're over relying on work, on our accomplishments, this might be a cycle where we're like, you know what? We're sick of this. We're sick of the rat race. We're sick of trying to compete and get to the fucking top and steal and I don't think Sages are stealing, but you know what I mean? Like when you just want success for the sake of it and it doesn't matter whose back you have to step on to get there. Sages are tired of that right now and they don't want to do it. They don't want to be successful just so people think you're a certain way. So letting go of that negative shadow side of achievement, not the positive side of it, and embracing fourth house shit, which is like, how do you feel in your own skin? Do you like you? Not does everyone else think you're capable? Do you like you? Do you like the way it feels when you put your head on the pillow at night? Are you comfortable in a place where is there belonging? Is there anywhere you belong, Sagittarius? And maybe Sagittarius are realizing at some point that it's like fame or accomplishment or recognition can only get you so far, and the people who are there at the end of the day is what matters. So maybe Sagittarius are putting more energy on what matters, on how it feels to be them. Maybe there's a goal being set here or being focused on related to how you want to feel or how you want your home to be. And maybe Mercury in the fifth here ruling the eclipse is like, all right, let's get into this creative thing in order to make our lives comfortable. Sagittarius want to be more comfortable right now. Sagittarius do not want to do the hustle mode. Now, it's interesting though, because you might be motivated to create comfort and belonging and like things that matter, but you're not going to be motivated in hustle mode just to say, oh, look at what I've accomplished in 6 months. You might be hustling. You might be doing shit. You might be creating things and working and, moving and shaking and all that to sell or to make a business or to get laid. I mean, that's the fifth house. Or to flirt or date so you can have a family or so you can be, in a relationship and happy or so you can just, enjoy life more and have more of a feeling of like, I'm okay. Sagittarius are not in the cycle of like, I'm going to hustle, 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 and everyone's going to know my name in 10 years. You can work right now. Okay, you can accomplish right now. But it has to be to create something you want to be a part of. It has to be to be more authentic or to, like, what are you bringing into the world right now? That's the focus. The focus could lead to accomplishment, right? When you bring things into the world, sometimes you accomplish it and people see it. But when you start from what can I be known for? And I'm not accusing you of this, but it's a very strong message coming through. You can't start with what do I want to be known for? You have to start, that's already written in your chart. You can start with what do I want to create in the world? And if a Sag is off track and been focused on what do I want to be known for? How can I get people to think of me in this way and this way? This is a recalibration into an energy that's more aligned. But if you haven't been doing that, then this is just a time where, fake accomplishment falls away and real, authentic things that are left are left. Now, for Sagittarius who already have like a public image, the eclipse here and the South Node being in that 10th house can actually make that public image more spiritual or bring that, that South Node emptiness to the public image. Well, what does that mean? Usually not a good thing for accomplishment, right? Because the South Node doesn't want to do things of this world. The South Node wants to be a monk and go in the fucking mountains and don't eat and fast and get close to God and meditate and be empty and not be part of things of this world. So herein lies the problem with the South Node in the 10th, is that they don't go together very well. But I will say David Bowie had South Node conjunct his midheaven. So don't think this transit guarantees failure or guarantees you can't move through the world. It's just you will detest it when people want to be famous for the sake of being famous. You will detest it if you become more popular because of an accomplishment and people only like you because of that, and they only like you because of your status. That's what will happen. Okay? So there's still a lot of energy here on what are you creating. And with the ruler of the eclipse in the 5th, Jupiter in the 7th, hello to possible relationship territory. If you're a Sagittarius and you're single, this could be a good time to focus on love and connection, because you still have Jupiter in that 7th house until June, helping you connect with other people, helping you make friends, even if you feel isolated or something else going on right now. Jupiter's still making it better than it would be. And Mercury there in the 5th is saying, why? Why don't we want to just accomplish things and be empty? Because we want to feel alive here, people. So Sagittarius is going to be led during the next 6 months by this sense of aliveness, creation, creativity, inspiration, fun. And, because Sagittarius has Aries on their 5th house, if nothing else is like in the chart contradicting it, usually you like a good roll in the hay every once in a while, or a lot of times. Some Sages are very not shy about wanting to experience all forms of pleasure. You know what I mean? So Mercury there ruling the eclipse, being like, how is our work? How are we going to use our life force energy, fun, even sexual energy, creative force energy to make money, have a business, be known for something? I know I just said don't be known for something, but it's like, it's not about what you're known for. It's about getting to the experience of creating a thing. And maybe Sagittarius during this 6 months will birth some new thing into being. Some of them, it might be a kid. Some of them, it might be a creative project or a business or something. So lots of good potential in this one for Sagittarius. Okay, we're going to go on now to Capricorns. Okay. Now, okay, so we're on Capricorn. Let me get it to the... All right. I'm probably going to sneeze again. Hold on. Okay. Capricorn, sorry about that. Eclipse in the 9th with the North Node and Sun opposite in the 3rd and the ruler of the eclipse in the 4th. All right, so this makes me feel like the metaphor is like coming home from abroad to focus on family. That is the metaphor. Now, if that doesn't resonate, think of it as a metaphor. What does abroad represent as a metaphor? The things that are far away, the quest in life, trying to accomplish a big mission. So it doesn't mean you stop the mission, but maybe there's something more important. Maybe a connection or a community or a sense of belonging becomes more important than some far off mission. And now it's time to focus on the sense of belonging and the community and the home base. It really feels like that. Now, if we're getting into the details of what some Capricorns might be letting go of in the next 6 months, maybe it's a mentor or a teacher, a spiritual mentor or teacher that naturally has, like, it's you learned from them and you're done. Like it naturally ran its course. Or another situation where you're letting go of a spiritual teacher who maybe it didn't run its course and you're like, this isn't the right thing. Now, when I think of the third house and the ninth house, I think of a couple things. I think of communicating what you know. And so with the south node and the eclipse happening in the ninth, it's releasing what you know. It's releasing the need to know more and embracing the ability to communicate what you already know. If Capricorns have this thing that a lot of us have where we feel like we don't know enough, gotta learn more, gotta learn more, gotta learn more. This is when you're like, no, actually, we're done learning more at this stage. Now we're gonna teach what we know to beginners. Or now we're going to write about it every day. Or now we're going to do something where we're taking it and applying it to our everyday life. Some Capricorns may find that this is a time where they spend less time doing what am I trying to say? Trying to get so close to the heavens and coming into the body and the earth and right here and right now. That's the other thing I think of with ninth house, third house axis is like the axis of the sky and God and the universe and things that we feel this flash of inspiration toward and the sense of being on a mission that's bigger than us. But then the third house, even though nobody talks about this, it's the house of the goddess. And the goddess is about the senses and the day-to-day mundane aspects of life. I know no one says that, but it's true. The third house is your local environment. It's going to the store and buying that shit you forgot to buy yesterday because you weren't thinking about it. It was on your list. It's picking something up from somewhere. It's where you grab your food when you grab food. It's where you get gas. It's literally the places you go on a daily basis to deal with your physical needs and your physical life. It's embodied life. Whereas the ninth house is our far off connection to the spirit world and philosophy and meaning and fulfillment. So it doesn't mean Capricorns are letting go of things that are meaningful and only doing boring shit. But maybe there is some kind of quest to accomplish in the next 6 months for Capricorn that requires some regular work, regular time spent on something, blocks of time to accomplish certain goals. It can be that as well. Okay, so on one side, we might be releasing ninth house stuff like, again, our spiritual teachers, our certain religions, beliefs, but more importantly, probably a stage of life where what we believe or our intuition or things that are kind of lofty are not taking the front seat. The front seat is getting the food on the table, or then that's the wrong way to put it. Getting up, getting in the shower, going to work, getting food, getting home, doing our workouts, taking the vitamins if you take vitamins, just living day-to-day life. It might be a time where that's what the focus is. And back to that Mercury in the fourth of why? Because there's something in home base that needs our attention. There's something in our emotional foundation or our family that needs our attention. There's something we want to focus on to create, not something out there that's far away, but like a sense of I'm okay in my own skin right here where I am. That's that fourth house influence. So especially with Mercury ruling the sixth house as well, being in the fourth, it's like the ninth house ruler is the ruler of being far away, and the sixth house ruler is the ruler of what you're doing all the time. And what are you doing? You're being at home. You're taking care of the projects at home. You're starting stuff at home. You're dealing with house, home, emotional foundation, feelings. How do you feel in your own skin, Capricorn? Are you happy with that? Are you happy with how you process emotions and stuff? And or are you like building a deck or doing other things where you're starting projects during the next 6 months that are about making your house a home kind of a thing? So it's those two things that I see really, really strong coming through for Capricorn. And again, if you want more for like what's to come, make sure you watch the solar eclipse video, because that solar eclipse is going to be what we're going to do, what we're going to accomplish, what we're going to focus on achieving in the next 6 months. This one is about what we're letting go of. Okay. All right. So going on now to Aquarius. Let me know, Capricorns, if that resonated. Aquarius is, we have, what do we have? We have the eclipse in the 8th house of sex, death, and other people's money, intimacy. Now, it's, I feel like having an eclipse in the 8th can be releasing something 8th house that is negative, and so it ends up being a positive. Like the 8th house is psychology. So if you're releasing something related to psychology, it could be trauma from the past, right? This could be, and I'm not diagnosing anything, but for Aquariuses who have something you would go to therapy for, this might be a time where you are doing that and you're letting it go. Now, some Aquariuses maybe who like used to do something really spiritual that's like beyond the veil, like tarot or mediumship, might just not be doing it as much anymore this next 6 months, because maybe there's a focus more on everyday stuff like money making. But that's not going to be most people. A release in the 8th house could also be like paying off a debt, or like letting go of a debt. Why? Because you paid it off or it got forgiven or something. So that would be a great way that this would show up. Now, letting go of intimacy doesn't always mean you're losing a partner. It might mean you and your partner now have a kid or something, and now there's no more intimacy for a while, or one of the people is far away working, one of the partners is off working and they have to work more, and you just don't get as much time together if you're in a relationship. And also releasing intimacy could be like you have a really close friend who moves away, or who you, for whatever reason, they're busy and they don't have as much time, or you're not connecting as much, right? So I see this next 6 months for Aquarius as a time where there's more independence, which Aquarius can handle. So you guys, if any sign can handle being independent, you guys are right up there. So this doesn't feel like it's detrimental necessarily, but it does feel like there's a focus here, though, on that Mercury in the 3rd, which is either going to be communicating something you know and initiating something that's related to communicating what you know, or even like buying a new car, or something related to focusing more on being in your local environment. And maybe you're busier. The 3rd house is one of the houses where I think of being busy, and then Mars is in the 6th. That's another one where I think of being busy. Maybe you're busier. Maybe you are so busy you don't get to connect with your friends and go listen to them talk about stuff and see what's going on with people and talk about your feelings or whatever, right? Maybe it's that. Maybe Aquariuses are super busy learning stuff. And even with this many planets in the 2nd house, I also think of like filling your head with things, right? Like your own ideas. Even though, again, no one talks about the 2nd house as your own ideas, but it really is your own independent. The 8th house is sharing, connecting deeply with other people, really being involved with them. And that 2nd house is like me and my own life right here, and I can't see anything else. So this is a time for Aquarius of probably really focusing in on a goal of some kind, and like trying to maybe even cutting out distractions to make that goal happen. That could be another way that shows up for Aquariuses. Okay, we're going to go on to Pisces now. we go. All right, Pisces, last but not least. Okay, for Pisces, we have the eclipse happening in the 7th house of relationships. This does not mean your relationship will end, so please do not be afraid of that. But there is something to be released relating to others. So what is it? Let's see. It could be something where you had a lot of people you were dealing with and you're not having to deal with them as much. Maybe, Pisces had more time for friends in the past and now there's less time for friends. It could be in your relationship, you're embracing more spiritual things, and that South Node there is like bringing more spiritual friends to you and letting go of the ones that aren't. I'm trying to think of what the 7th house could be when it comes to letting go of it that wouldn't be just people altogether. There might be a change in how you approach others and how maybe like, I don't know how else to put this, letting go of people who are sources of comfort. Like if someone is your comfort zone, maybe you're not getting to have that person be your comfort zone as much anymore for some reason. Now let's see if looking at Mercury gives me a little more on this, because Mercury is ruling the eclipse. It's in the 2nd house. So some Pisces, maybe for Pisces who work with clients, maybe this is about letting go of certain clients so you can make more money, or letting go of doing one-on-one work so you can do something that is more lucrative. There's got to be something else here though, because I don't even feel like that's going to be most people, but it does feel like it could be you just don't get to spend much time with friends during this cycle or talking about your feelings like you normally would, because you're focusing on accumulating and just like, making some money this next 6 months. It does feel like there's a lot of self-focus the next 6 months for Pisces, with stepping up to certain goals, with trying to finish out what you started maybe around March of 2023 in terms of things that you had to take on that involved more responsibility. And that cycle might come to an end soon, or at least temporarily you get a break from, like, I don't know, I think it's like June till ish. I'm estimating here. I think it's June till like November or something. But the point is, there has been more responsibility for Pisces lately. There has been a lot on your shoulders. You've had to do more things you don't want to do. Maybe that's work. Maybe it's some other form of sacrifice Pisces has had to take on since March of 2023. So for like 2 years. 2 years of Saturn in your sign being like, we're working our asses off over here. We're sacrificing. Have you gotten anything back for it? Maybe not yet. Maybe not yet. But this eclipse is like, okay, it's time to push it through. If this is a money-making thing, it's time to push it through. If it's not a money-making thing, maybe for some Pisces, there's something here about accumulating more possessions. Maybe you need to buy some shit. Maybe Pisces needs a new wardrobe. And I don't know what this is that you're letting go of to get it that has to do with comfort in other people. But it's like, we're pushing through here to get our new wardrobe. We're pushing through to invest in ourselves in ways we need to, not in ways that are like you're lying to yourself, like getting a $10 smoothie every day as an investment, but like real investment, like really focusing on a plan of action going forward that allows you to have the independence. There's something about independence here for Pisces, about whatever was happening since March of 2023 that has had you make sacrifices where you're not doing the things you want to do as much. You're not focusing on your own goals as much, or you are, but it's like you have to do these things you don't want to do to reach the goal. And it's like, what are we, like, it just does feel like so much of this is about that. Now, let's say, I'm just going to imagine this is a Pisces who maybe, like, your money is fine and that doesn't resonate. The eclipse ruler in the second house, there's got to be a focus on your things then. If you're not trying to make more money, maybe it's about taking care of the things you already have and using them, or putting some stuff you already have together and like using it so you can enjoy the things you have. Venus is here with Mercury, so maybe it's about enjoying your money. Maybe it's about enjoying your stuff. And that might not be a lot of it. It might be a ton of it. But like maybe using the things you have to create something. Using the stuff you have to make music. Playing the piano you have not been playing. Or whatever it is. Because Jupiter's helping you be more happy in your own skin. Be more comfortable in your own skin. To heal or release old hurts from the past, especially childhood. If you are a Pisces who is interested in like telling yourself a new story related to your childhood or doing inner work on this, now is a good time while Jupiter is still in this fourth house through June. Doesn't mean it ends in June and you don't get to, but like Jupiter is going to help make that process better until June. So you can use that energy to help you move forward more. And maybe there is something going on here that's about letting go of something related to other people that is holding you back financially, or paying off debts of people who you're beholden to, or something else going on where finances and relationships are going to take a center stage. Now, maybe this is your partner. If you're a Pisces and you're coupled, maybe your partner's money is a big thing the next 6 months and you don't get to see them as much. Maybe they're working a lot. And it's more about letting go of the time you used to spend with them and having that's the thing that's released. And as a result, there's more independence. So it doesn't say every Pisces is breaking up with their partner or something like that, right? Like eclipses don't do that. They don't make everyone in a sign have one life problem. Like that would be 1/12 of people have breakups at the same time. That's not logical. Now, if your relationship was on hanging by one thread, could this be a breakup? Yeah. An eclipse in the 7th, when your relationship's already hanging by a thread, would probably be it. But it's still going to be from now until the next 6 months. And even if that is it, Pisces, then you're going to focus on getting better and getting over it by improving your worth. Investing in things that make you feel like you are worth more. And that's true relationship or no relationship. This cycle, what is your worth? And that can be net value, or it can like net worth, or it can be like, how do you feel you are worth when you're in a room with other people? And again, maybe Pisces needs a new wardrobe. Maybe Pisces needs to reinvent themselves a little bit and kind of step up and create a new sense of power, confidence, and independence. And again, enjoy what you're capable of. So that's kind of what I feel like, what I'm feeling for Pisces. Okay, I'm gonna see who's here. Jen is here, going back to watch Virgo and Cap. And I don't know what this means, releasing or rather getting rid of finally of open enemies. I don't think the 7th is open enemies. I thought it was the 6th, but I could be wrong. I think the 12th is hidden enemies and the 6th is open enemies, but I'm not usually thinking about enemies in the chart, honestly. But it's fine. Like, don't feel bad or anything. And thank you for this. I'm glad that you saw me on your feed. I'm glad that people are seeing the videos. And yeah, I'm actually done now. So that was, we went from Aries to Pisces. If you caught the end, make sure you go back and you can, sometimes in the beginning, there's no timestamps and then people add them. So there are, you can see the little name on the bottom left. I put a little caption for all the signs. And also, don't forget, readings are on sale. You can get 50% off. I'm doing an eclipse sale just because I know sometimes that energy of an eclipse is actually a really good time for self-knowledge. And it's a good, I mean, it's always a good time to book an astrology reading, but there's something about that in between eclipses vibe that's like, it makes you a little antsy. And it also, it's sort of like this in-between zone. So that's a good time to reflect and get insight, you know, and in my opinion. Okay, so if you want to book a reading, click the link in the description and you can do that. It's going through, I don't remember the day. It's on my website. It's the end of the month. And there's Zoom calls. And thank you for being here. Thank you for just all of you who support this channel in all the ways that you do. And, you know, the comments and the everything, the likes and the shares and everything you guys do on this channel is appreciated. And there, like I said, there will be a solar eclipse in Aries video where we're going to talk more. I don't know how you guys feel, but I really love the solar eclipses because that's telling us what are we calling in? You know what I mean? Like maybe it's a Scorpio in me, but like I don't really want to think about releasing shit. I think that is definitely my Mars in Scorpio. That's like, yeah, that's with like, sorry, I'm getting distracted. Ah, I forgot what I was just going to say. Damn it. Completely, like it's gone. Okay. I may see you in a reading with all the big planets changing. All the big planets are changing. All of them, right? We've got Saturn changing signs, Uranus changing signs, Neptune changing signs, Pluto already changed signs. But like that's cray cray. That is so insane. But I'm not trying to make you think that means, oh my God, we got to be scared. Because like sometimes one of those planets gets out of a house where it was messing shit up and you're like, thank God that's over. Thank God that 14 years of being slow in this area of life is done now. You know, sometimes it really is a relief when a planet moves into a new sign. Yes, I do remember you. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. Be sure to catch the solar eclipse. That's what I was about to say. Yes, I remembered now. Is that if you're like me, maybe it's that Scorpio in me that's like, I don't want to think about all what we're letting go of. I just don't like to. I want to think about what's ahead and what we're creating and like whatever's being released, fine, let it go. But like, what are we doing? What are we holding on to? I'm always wanting to know that stuff, right? Jenna's saying Virgo and Cap on point. Thank you, Jenna. Thank you for that. I always appreciate that, you guys. And to be honest, sometimes I forget, you know, when I'm thinking about whether I'm going to go live and do another reading or not. Sometimes I do forget how much it helps you or how much it provides guidance. So thank you all for always continuing to remind me when it's on point or when it feels like it resonates. And it's okay. Just remember if it doesn't resonate, just let it go. These are general readings. So also don't be scared of eclipses. It's going to be okay. They're not going to get you. And we're going to stop there. I hope you have a beautiful evening. I will see you guys soon in the next eclipse video that I do, which is going to be the solar eclipse in Aries that is coming up. So I will see you guys sometime soon. And